What's up, y'all? It's T-Turn. Welcome back to another Riddler coup day. We're looking at more riddles for the Indigo Disk, and Riddler Coup's posted a few. So first one is this tweet here that says, choose your side, and he's put a picture of Lacey and Nimona, and then Carmine and Nimona. Now, none of these involve our characters, so it's not like something we choose. I think he's implying that these pair-ups happen in the game. So maybe Nimona and Lacey pair up at some point in Blueberry Academy, and then when we're returning to Area Zero, at the end, Nimona pairs with Carmine, and he's just asking which one you think we'll look forward to the most. I'm interested to just see Carmine and Kieran interacting with our original squad. Now remember, Ku did call Lacey the puzzle queen, and he made Lacey his profile pic as the big Riddler, knowing all the secrets and playing with us. So it makes you wonder if Lacey does have a special role. I mean, think about it. The ones with the most innocent faces would be able to hide the biggest secrets. Not that Lacey's necessarily evil or something, but I would like if the new Elite Four had some kind of twist to them. We already have one idea of a twist, that Kieran might control the Elite Four, mind control them, but then, you know, that's just speculation. All right, next riddle. Speaking of Kieran, Ku posts this. It's a picture of Kieran and he writes, just curious, what's your real takes on him? Do you like him or do you want him to back off? And then ignore check results, but it's like a 2-to-1. Most people seem to like him. So then Ku writes, so based on the positive comments that most people dropped, I think the community would hype to the sky after you experience the second DLC storyline of Kieran. That means however this goes, there's some kind of fun story they're gonna tell through Kieran. And Ku said this, keeping in mind that everyone thinks he's evil and has this mind-controlling ploy. But listen, if Game Freak does this right, this sucker will be such a fun villain. You know, all Pokemon villains have been pretty bare bones, like the same motive just again and again. Then you kind of had Lusamine, she wanted to meet Mon, and then you had Rose, which no one even knows what his motive was. He thinks he needs electricity, energy, but Kieran here is like relatable and stupid like we are. All right, let's go to the next tweet. Ku writes, do you love double battles? The second DLC is ... I guess he's implying this DLC is gonna have a lot of double battles, which makes sense with the tweets he posted earlier, right? With Nimona paired up with different people, which they didn't pull this idea out of nowhere, Game Freak. They did this whenever we team up with our friends. When we were in Area Zero, all the mini bosses were double battles. So since the second DLC has so many of our friends involved, each time we pair up with them, it makes sense there'll be a bunch of double battles. All right, next tweet, Ku posts this. Legendary in the second DLC, and then he puts a picture of a bunch of chip snacks. I'm pretty sure what he's implying with this is that you can get a lot of them in the DLC. The Hoopa portals, the Ultra Warp Ride, there's gonna be a version of that here. It's a legendary bargain sale. Okay, so I don't hate the legendary Gauntlet at all. I think especially when we have to pay, what is it, 80 bucks, and then for the DLC as well, like 120 bucks, at least Canadian, for the whole Scarlet and Violet package. Yeah, give me as much as possible. But I did read some comments people posted, which is that when they keep distributing the legendaries like this, that it loses their touch. I think the perfect sweet spot Pokemon can do, and I don't know why they don't do this, it does not take that much effort at all, but it's to just put the legendaries in relevant locations, you know, in like a ROM hack, you'll have Celebi in a forest, Keytran in a cave. Isn't this much more fun than just talking to a portal and you get a different legendary each time? That's the bare bones, right? Just to have them standing somewhere. But this is, dude, it's 2023. If they wanted to include older legendaries, they should be blowing our mind. Have you seen what other game studios have to do? Like, let's say Zacian and Zamazenta. Let's say you can get them in this legendary gauntlet, the portal crap. How about instead of that, someone in the game like gives you a sword or shield, and then you go to forest and you just catch Zacian and Zamazenta. Latios and Latios you can have roaming the region. You know that Garchomp that snipes you when you climb Area Zero's walls? Imagine in each game, around the whole region, there's a single Latios and Latios roaming around. As simple as that. I mean, all these legends, you can find a way to tastefully do it. All right, let's go back to this. So next tweet, Ku posts a picture of the Blueberry Elite Four, and then he writes, one of them, and these letters, which when you translate says old iron. Bro, so when I translate it in Chinese in a different translator, I get old iron. But when I say the language is Japanese, I get elderly person's polite reference to another older brother. Is this for real? All right, let's go with old iron. So when we go to the comments, there's a couple things people think. Like old iron sounds like the naming scheme for the future paradoxes, you know, Tetsu or iron, and then a name. So wait, are you saying a fusion paradox of both past and future? Because old for past and iron for future doesn't quite sound right, you know? Here's a guy who says, minored in Mandarin and spent some time studying in China. Old iron is a phrase used to describe a long-time friend. You mean the elderly brother's polite reference to another older brother? What we in America would call a childhood friend. Oh, so I'm assuming this means one of them is someone who's childhood friends with the, not with the player, but childhood friends with someone. And then there's people talking about her for old iron because she got the screws in her head. It's a hairstyle. I guess he's got iron pot. Whatever, that's a better idea. So one of them has some childhood friend relation. Who would it be and to who? We do have theories that these two characters are connected to Unova gym leaders. Old Iron, Clay has a mind, so Iron, and old because he's from an older game, confirming Lacey is related to Clay. Maybe it's fun to play with the idea that one of these four might be up to something. I'm saying Lacey, especially since Cool put that as his profile pic. Alright, next tweet. So he posts a picture of Area Zero. This is right outside the Zero Lab when we're going down with our friends. And he writes, "What's beneath this place?" Now this is interesting because we do know what's beneath this place. We go to it at the climax of the game. Sad and Turo take us through this deep elevator to this weird area filled with these shining crystals. And these crystals that they take us to, it looks different than the crystals on the surface. They're still hexagon shaped, but the ones on the surface are reflecting, you know, magenta, blue. But the ones there are smaller and more like the base color. You almost get the idea that someone put them there, like someone crafted that area. Or it's something like Tauropagus made, like we just went down to the core of Tauropagus's crystals, and so it looks like down on the inside. Either way, it doesn't sound like Sada and Turo in those games made that crap themselves and made the time machine. I know that's what's hinted in the games, but my idea is always that some ancient people must have left that there and did all the work first. And all Sada and Turo really did is just like rediscover and walk through like those same footprints. Anyhow, he says, "What's beneath this place?" This could also be a reference to the tale that Tauropagus seems to be based off. We'll ignore the Dreamcatcher stuff for now, but it's the Urano Shimako story where the turtle takes them deep down into the ocean, into this dome, and that's the Dragon King's palace. Who in the past has tweeted about the Dragon King's palace asking what we think it is or where we might think it could be. And you know, Ku sometimes trolls with these tweets, so it doesn't necessarily mean this timeless place from the myths is actually going to be in the story. But when he writes what's beneath this, it reminds me a lot of that. There's also the second elevator we can take to Area Zero, and they did say in the trailers that we'd have to return to Area Zero at the end. So I imagine he's saying this because we're going to go beneath this place in the DLC. And maybe in a different path than the elevator we took before. Maybe like the manual way. We're going to find a cave that goes deeper down. Let's see what people say. Is baby Kieran next to Nimona? Yeah, I can't with these comments. What's underneath Area Zero? Another lab where Arvin's other parent is sealed or in cryogenics. You're telling me the other parent froze the other parent and then said they walked out on me? Anyhow, there is just one tweet left that Ku posts, and then we'll wait for some more to come out. But it is this. He posts a picture of Kieran. And he says, "The Involution King of Blueberry." So I kind of looked into what involution means. It's the closest things like the inverse or reverse. So the inverse king of Blueberry. This sucker, it's like he's gonna scheme something and kind of take all their research and like wield it. Which still, if that turns out to be what happens, I'll be so gassed. But look, the Involution King of Blueberry, his sibling even tells you to hide from him. And this sucker gets that dangerous? What does he look like with his hair tied? You see, when have they ever said in a Pokemon game to hide? Archie and Max don't tell you to hide from Kyogre. No one's hiding from Rose. No one warns you of that. Oldine even tells you go meet Rose. He's doing something crazy. Never in a Pokemon game is someone so dangerous. People are telling you to hide from him. And this also goes with one of Ku's earlier riddles where it says Kieran is the one who knocks, right? I said that means Kieran is specifically coming after you rather than waiting around and you go to him to stop him. And that makes sense. His sibling even tells you to hide from him. How dangerous does this, 13-year-old boy get? Let's see the comments. Involution? I don't understand. Who puts this? Which means... Let's see what this means. He put the Chinese word for it. And yeah, I want you guys to keep in mind, apparently, as Kua said, Momotaro isn't directly related to what unfolds in the second DLC with Kieran. So I want to ask you guys, if this sucker is like the Involution King and he's gonna do something to be this threatening, What is he gonna do? What makes him so dangerous? Make sure y'all shank that like button. Let me know your thoughts. I got more theory videos to make, and then as Cool makes more riddles, we'll cover those as well. So I'll see you on the next video. Take care.